Now at 9 o'clock, tonight family and friends along with brothers and sisters in blue continuing to mourn one of their own killed in the line of duty earlier this week. 29-year-old officer Zane Coolidge putting up a fight for his life for several days. But yesterday, we received the devastating news that he did not survive his injuries after a shooting earlier this week. This is 12 News at 9 o'clock this Saturday night. I'm Jonathan McCall. Thanks so much for spending time with us. Tonight, 12 News journalist Tricia Hendricks going one-on-one with Phoenix Interim Police Chief Michael Sullivan about his loss and the promise the department has now made to Coolidge's family.
Please be there and help us grieve. I think as a department, we are grieving.
In an emotional interview with 12 News, Interim Police Chief Michael Sullivan talks about the passing of 29-year-old Phoenix police officer Zane Coolidge.
He was an officer, but he was a father, a husband, a brother, a son that's not there anymore.
Tuesday night, Officer Coolidge, a 5-year veteran of the department, was responding to an attempted car break-in near 16th Street in McDowell when police say the suspect, 41-year-old Saul Ball, shot Officer Coolidge and Officer Matthew Haney.
We call an incident where an officer shot as a 999, and my phone went off and I picked it up and I saw those numbers that you never want to see.
Haney, who's been with the department for 2 years, was released from the hospital on Wednesday, but has been involved in law enforcement for 9 years. While we were initially told he was saved by his vest, now Sullivan is sharing new information.
He was shot. He has a bullet lodged in his body right now. We don't know if the vest actually played a part in deflecting the bullet. Or what, how exactly that occurred.
But Coolidge's injuries were too much to overcome.
It's heartbreaking.
He died in the hospital Friday, leaving behind a loving family, including a wife and a 5-month-old baby girl.
He fought valiantly, and the injuries were just too severe. We're going to continue to hurt.
We're grieving. We're hurting.
Leif Myers is the Phoenix police commander at the Mountain View precinct where Coolidge had been assigned.
The Mountain View precinct is going through a range of emotions of healing, being there for Zane and his family, while continuing to do the good work that the men and women do there.
Sullivan says Officer Coolidge's legacy will forever be a part of the department. And while his family continues to deal with unimaginable grief, he says they will do everything they can to help them through their darkest hours. Sullivan says they pledge that his family will always be a part of the Phoenix police family.
Both officers, in my eyes, are heroes. They put themselves in harm's way. They didn't hesitate.
Despite this immense loss, Sullivan says they will continue to hold their heads up high and do their fallen colleague proud by continuing to serve our community with the courage and integrity that is Phoenix Police Department.
The community called on them, and they did what they were trained to do.
In Phoenix, Tricia Hendricks, 12 News.
41-year-old Saul Ball, the man accused of shooting Officer Coolidge, is being held at the Maricopa County Jail tonight on a number of charges. In just the last 90 minutes, Phoenix police sending out a statement that his attempted murder charges have now been upgraded to first-degree murder charges for the actions that led to Officer Coolidge's death. As for funeral services for Officer Coolidge, Phoenix police tonight say that those are still pending. Officer Coolidge, at least the 4th Arizona law enforcement officer killed in the line of duty this year. This Tuesday, a barbecue fundraiser will be held in honor of Officer Coolidge, along with Officer Haney and their families. It begins at 11 o'clock in the morning at the Phoenix Law Enforcement Association headquarters. You can find more details right now at 12news.com. And stay with 12 News for continuing coverage right here. You can find extended coverage of this story right now on air and online at 12news.com. Let's take a break from the headlines to talk about our weather forecast this Saturday night. Meteorologist Chris Dunn with a look at what we can expect. We saw some showers in the high country earlier today. Any chance those will make their way to the valley, Chris?
Yeah, Jonathan, all afternoon I've been tracking that stuff, and it was getting closer and closer and closer, and it never really did make it into the valley, just skirting right on the outer edges, New River, Anthem area, up towards Cave Creek and Carefree, right on on the edge of that stuff, but a lot of it, it's almost like hitting a brick wall. It's getting into an unfavorable environment. So these storms are really just kind of falling apart. Gusty winds out of the north, and that's really all we're going to get out of this batch of diminishing showers. Still going on around Wickenburg, and we have some action going on along the Colorado River, north of Blythe, Quartzsite area up to Parker and Lake Havasu City, Bullhead City. Maybe some rumbles of thunder and a quick flash of lightning here and there. But things are pretty quiet here in the valley, although it is quite toasty. We had another 110-degree day today. In this same zone, looking for the possibility of more storms popping tomorrow. So northern Arizona, mainly the high terrain, a 4 all the way out to Kingman, and then farther to the south towards Yuma, just a 1 for the valley, just an outside chance, and only a 2 for the Rim Country and the White Mountains. So you'll see scenes like this from Prescott today. One of our 12 News Weather Watchers posted this on our 12 News Weather Watchers page. For tomorrow in the valley, 90s up to 105, but not the 110. And I think we will see mostly sunny skies and an interesting trend showing up in my 7-day forecast as the monsoon also takes a break. We'll have that coming up in just a bit. Jonathan.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. We'll see you in a few minutes. Tonight on a story you'll see only here on 12 News, a government report, a new one, exposing the weaknesses of the computer systems at an Arizona facility that's responsible for making sure that veterans get their prescriptions on time. For 2 years, that report shows the facility failed to implement federally mandated security protocols for its systems.
A new report from the Office of the Inspector General for Veterans Affairs is raising red flags about the security of government computer systems at one Arizona facility.
Yeah, I'm reading the report. It looks like that it really isn't a plan in place if a major cyber incident occurs.
The Southwest Consolidated Mail Order Pharmacy in Tucson handles about 56,000 prescriptions every day for America's veterans. But according to the OIG's report, the facility's IT systems are vulnerable.
You've got to have a plan in order to get those computers up and going. And with this government agency, you would think that would be plan number one.
Weaknesses that were first found back in 2020. A year later, 6 recommendations given to fix the problem. But in 2022, the report found none of them had been implemented. The report found there were no plans for vulnerabilities. The facility, quote, running software no longer meeting security requirements. 88% of the facility's servers not meeting minimum federal government security requirements. A worker's account still active 5 months after being terminated and still being used. The report coming with a dire warning, saying the facility faces the risk of breaches to critical networks, loss of personal information, and the inability to respond to incidents if the problem isn't fixed.
To do a better job as far as making sure that they're protecting veterans' information. I mean, it's really unfortunate, but there's really no excuse in this situation.
Cybersecurity expert Burton Kelso says the vulnerability is the playground hackers look for, and one that could impact veterans in multiple ways.
Veterans have to understand, too, that there is a lot of medical fraud going on. Criminals want your personal information, so maybe they can get procedures done that maybe they wouldn't be able to get under normal circumstances.
Just last year, the OIG issued 5 more recommendations for that facility. As of now, we've learned that 3 of them are now being fully implemented.
Did you say collapse to the house to the north?
Scary scene tonight. 3 people looking for a place to stay after a fire causes a roof to collapse at a home near 67th Avenue and Indian School. Phoenix Fire says this fire starting in the attic of that home. No one was hurt. Tonight, fire crews looking into what sparked that fire. A woman is in critical condition after she was shot at a park overnight in Phoenix. This happened at Palma Park near 12th Street and Dunlap. Investigators say the shooter leaving the scene before officers could arrive. Tonight, 12 News is staying in contact with investigators to get more information about a possible suspect description. Anyone with information on the case now urged to call silent witness. Phoenix police are also searching for answers in an overnight house party shooting that ended with 1 man dead. The shooting happened at a home near 51st Avenue and Thomas. We're told that man dying from his injuries. Right now, 12 News working to learn more about the man who was killed, along with details on a suspect. Prescott police say they need your help trying to identify this woman who they say stole packages from a home. If you happen to recognize her or know who she is, make sure you call Yavapai Silent Witness. The search is on to find 39-year-old Brandon Jonathan Hill tonight. There's his photo on the right side of your screen. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office says that no one has seen him since he left Banner University Medical Center Wednesday afternoon. We're told that he does suffer from mental health issues and does take medication. If you happen to know where he is, be sure to call MCSO. Tonight, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is warning folks about a scam involving the agency. MCSO says that several folks have received calls from scammers pretending to be a deputy telling folks that they owe money. The Sheriff's Office warns that they will never call you to ask for payments over the phone. If you happen to receive one of these calls, the best thing to do, just hang up and call law enforcement. Now to Decision 2024, just 58 days until election night, and candidates continue to keep Arizona in focus. Just days after Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance wrapped up a two-day visit to the Valley, 12 News has learned that Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz will make a return visit to Arizona on Tuesday. Details on where he will speak have not been released, but we are told that he will speak just before Tuesday night's presidential debate. It will be his first solo trip to Arizona. You may remember that Walz was joined by Vice President Kamala Harris during a rally last month in Glendale. Meanwhile, the Harris-Walz campaign launching a new round of campaign ads focused on reproductive freedoms. The ads being released before Tuesday night's presidential debate and are part of the campaign's ongoing $370 million investment in ads between Labor Day and Election Day. The ads featuring Trump's own words saying that, quote, he's proud to have overturned Roe and his plans to go even further to restrict women's reproductive rights, as well as 2 women who have been directly affected by abortion bans. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump on the stump in Wisconsin today, a key battleground state that could decide the election. The visit comes as he tries to solidify support in his base. During the speech, Trump criticized current leaders as well as officials, as well as outlining steps that he believes will, quote, break the grip of the Biden-Harris administration. Meanwhile, 2 top names in the Republican Party say they now plan to throw their support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. Former Vice President Dick Cheney and his daughter, former Republican Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney, said that they plan to now support Harris. Cheney said that, quote, we have a duty to put country above partisanship to defend our Constitution. Meanwhile, we are just days away from Vice President Kamala Harris and the former President Donald Trump squaring off in their first presidential debate. It will take place Tuesday night, the debate being hosted by ABC News, but you can watch it right here on 12 News with full coverage starting at 5 o'clock.